Hi, I'm Torte de Lini. Throughout the International 13, players are starting to notice Luna as being a viable carry. As ranged heroes become the staple carry pick in this meta, heroes like Morphling, Mirana, and Shadow Fiend are joining Lina and Windranger in popularity. All that said, Luna is starting to stand out from the crowd despite not receiving any new changes since July with patch 10.37. So what makes Luna so strong despite being unchanged for months? And is it the meta, or is there something more to the hero that we overlooked? By the way, if you like these videos, please leave a comment below with your MMR and rank. I need to know my target demographic so I can feel better about myself for not playing ranked. Also because the YouTube algorithm continues to dunk on my videos, but with your help, we can defeat this evil AI for not giving Dota 2 content the recognition it deserves. That just so happens to also benefit me. So if you remember how Luna used to be played, she previously had two modes. One, AFK farm, where she would just max out Lunar Blessing, then Moonglaves, try to survive her lane and then focus on farming. And then two, by 25-30 minutes, she'd have her major items and try to force fights to eventually push the tower and win. If she missed that timing or ultimately wasn't farmed fast enough to beat out the enemy team, she would pretty much lose. If the game went past her timing and she was more or less 6-slotted, she'd end up losing. She was very much a traditional farming carry that just could not do much before her timing and after if she wasn't already chipping away at the enemy's base. And that's what patch 7.37 tried to do. First, in 7.36, the developers gave Luna her Moonstorm facet, which effectively gave her more damage whenever an enemy hero was hit by her Eclipse or Lucent Beams. That's a lot of damage, but all it really did was make the period in which she's ready to fight all the more stronger while not really tackling the core issue. She's only good at a key point of the match, and not much before nor after, because she had to commit all her levels into Lunar Blessing for the damage to help with last hitting during the laning stage, but also to make her Moonglaves effective when she finally starts farming the jungle camps and putting levels into that. So really, that Moonstorm facet is just added damage to a hero that had a lot of it already when she was finally able to fight. So if we look at patch 7.37, we can actually plainly see what made Luna suddenly become so good. For Moonglaves, they reverted the number of bounces from 5 at max level to now 6. To add, they also gave her a new ability, Lunar Orbit, which is essentially Luna's old Ag shot active on her Moonglaves, but now it is its own ability and effectively gives her close range protection when enemies close the gap on her. These changes free up her Ag shard to be an even more effective Lunar Orbit rather than an additional purchase you had to make. It also made her Moonglaves have a bit more oomph where it was lacking.
The Aegis has gone, but they've taken so much from Falcons, and Falcons, it's Skeeter against the world. Time that they can keep this push going onto the tier 4s. I think they've done it.
But really the biggest change is her Lunar Blessing, now becoming an innate ability. So now whenever Luna levels up, she gains additional attack damage. So that free damage only gets better with time, but what's more is that it frees up Luna's first 6 levels, so now she can level up Lucent Beam as well as her ultimate ability at level 6, whereas previously she would have to ignore all of that and just keep her head down to farm. Initially, Luna players thought the Moonshield facet was more worthwhile as it gave you more defensiveness in the lane, but also made maxing out Lunar Orbit all the more appealing in both being an offensive tool to secure creep kills and push back on aggressive offlaners. However, in reality, it just doesn't scale that well, and it ultimately was a sign that Luna players were not adapting to what they were being given, a more proactive playstyle with a hero and still trying to play her like before. So now with Luna players maxing out Lucent Beam, this opens her up in two ways. It makes her laning stage way more aggressive, where before she would rely on a point Lucent Beam to help guarantee last hits because she struggled competing for creep kills until she at least had a Wraith Band and some points of Lunar Blessings. Now her Lucent Beam combined with her Moonstorm facet means she goes hard on enemies in the lane, and that opens her up to a lot of today's popular POS 5 supports who like to set up for kills such as Trinket Protector, Omni Knight, and Tusk. Their initiating slows and stuns combined with your massive nuke damage of Lucent Beam and your bonus attacks means you are hitting like a truck very early on. What's more is with maxed out Lucent Beam, it means that she can get her Eclipse ultimate ability early and actually fight along with her team rather than hiding in the jungle for 20 minutes to farm. This opens up Luna from being an all-around great fighter at most points of the game, as both her early, mid, and late game capabilities far extend past her original form prior to 7.37. Lunar Blessing also giving damage to her allies globally really emphasizes the value she brings as a whole to any lineup, especially aggressive ones like in today's meta, where heroes like Marcy, Clockwork, and Storm Spirit are fairly active on the map. Now what sets Luna apart is the fact that she doesn't need items to be able to farm. If we compare her to Wind Ranger or Lina, both of these heroes are very popular and similar to Luna in terms of being a carry. They hit hard, they fight in the mid game, and have both magical and physical damage. The difference is these heroes need Maelstrom to help their farm, whereas Luna starts with Moonglaives and maxes it out second, giving her a massive leg up against other range cores on top of everything else we just mentioned. Now Luna doesn't have lockdown like these other range carries of Gleipnir, but that kind of leads into my next point of ideal drafts. So now you basically have this tempo carry with an incredibly strong aura that fits very well with today's popular meta picks like Mars, Puck, and Kunkka. Heroes that like to initiate teamfights and force a lockdown for Luna to then be shoved right in the middle of it and just go ham with Eclipse and Moonglaive's massive damage output. As well as the fact that Luna's rivaling carries like Lina and Wind Ranger and even Mirana can be countered by your mids and offlaners like the ones I mentioned, as well as heroes like Tiny, Storm Spirit, if he actually ganks the side lane, Centaur, etc. Heroes that close the gap on these guys for your team to then shoehorn Luna into the fight.
Tier 4s, they're gone. They've got to do something soon, Tundra. Falcons
Keeping in, he's
on the
setting up for it.
Let's see what Pure can do. He's going to go straight over one snaking. He's taking out the Oracle. Now turns towards Gear. Gear down to get the link off. Pure onto the French. A big goodness! Coming in from White sets up the fight to fall into the hands of Pure. The base, it's been defended. Falcons, they have to get on the retreat. They're not going to get the chance to though. Pure jumps over. He's got the setup on towards Maori. They're going to be able to take down the Pygo as well.
So in terms of itemization, it's pretty much everything you know about Luna. We opt for Mask of Madness and Dragonlance, both for sustain, damage, and attack speed output, and now especially because when we fight with Eclipse early on, we can pop Mask of Madness knowing that enemies who try to man fight us will probably just end up dying. Luna scales very well with agility, so the armor loss from Mask of Madness is mitigated on top of the fact that any levels you have in Luna Orbit that you've already skilled up. Manta Style is another good item for the Dispel from Gleipnir and other debuffs, but also because your illusions get your Moonglaives bounce so they can split push lanes and farm incredibly fast. Not to mention that they also get the Lunar Blessing attack damage bonuses. Lastly, I think one of your most important items, Conda, massively gets buffed here, as the more Lucent Beams and Eclipse damage you deal, the more bonus damage you get from your facet. That means the Conda percentage based bonus damage from your attack damage is also heightened with each use, leading to you to deal even more damage from your Lucent Beam. So, in summary, with the Lunar Blessing now her innate ability requiring new levels, Luna has shifted from being an AFK farming carry to now being a very strong tempo pos 1 hero. With the meta heavily emphasizing ranged cores and her first level is now free to put points in her Lucent Beam, her early, mid, and late game has opened up wide for her to make plays with Eclipse and her facet Moonstorm, providing more damage from those damaging spells. Where heroes like Wind Ranger and Lina have lockdown with Gleipnir, Luna comes with a free farming skill called Moonglaives, as you guys all know, and relies on popular mids and offlaners like Mars and Puck to secure lockdown for her as she just focuses on fighting. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Luna, and I'll see you guys next time.